So I work with a project called My City, My Safety, which is being coordinated by Women in Cities International. What our project does is it encourages youth in the city to envision more inclusive urban environments, and then involves them in the creation of these inclusive urban environments. Safety does not necessarily mean just the absence of physical threats or physical violence, but just a feeling of inclusivity or comfort, or the level of comfort you have when you're in a city walking by yourself. We thought that youth would have a different perspective on the level of comfort they feel when they're walking in the city. They still don't feel comfortable walking through them just because there's often no windows and there's nothing sort of to promote the usage. They're often avoided by people, and so it's just a factor that sort of makes the city less inclusive. And so one of the things we talked about with the girls was the verdissement of alleys and how they would feel if the alleys were greener and sort of being used by more people more often, because they have to take care of the vegetation or the plants or whatever. We engage the youth in a series of workshops over the period of their school year. And so these workshops range from sort of an introduction to how would you sort of to encourage them to think about their urban environment. What places do they find safe and inclusive, and what they don't find safe and inclusive. We run safety audit walks so that they can sort of identify specific factors that make them uncomfortable, which is how the alleyways sort of came up. And the culmination of these workshops, they sort of end in this grand media project, and the young girls are supposed to work in this put their thoughts down in some sort of creative form mediatique. And so it can be their thoughts, and it can also be recommendations to the city on how they could make the city more inclusive. We're trying to get the girls involved in the creation of an actual green alleyway so that they're able to sort of hands-on get involved and see how they can effect change in their urban environments, and how they can make this happen, and how they can make the city more inclusive for everyone.